Hello, babies. Welcome to Diaper Diaries, Mommy's original short stories. This is episode 38, Thanksgiving Travel Fiasco. Now get your butt and blankie, relax, and enjoy the story. Clara Henderson had never met a problem she couldn't solve with duct tape, a spreadsheet, or sheer stubbornness. That was why on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, she found herself wedged behind the wheel of her dented silver hatchback, piloting 3 grown women and roughly 47 adult diapers through a biblical downpour on a 2-lane road outside Birmingham, Alabama. The car smelled like a pine forest, had collided with a baby aisle, and the wipers were doing the cha-cha just to keep up. In the passenger seat, Sophie Ramirez clutched the GPS like it owed her money. Recalculating, the robotic voice announced for the 19th time. Sophie jabbed the screen. Recalculate this, buddy. Her curly hair was already escaping its ponytail in a frizzy protest. Every time she shifted, her leggings produced a faint crinkle that made her ears turn pink. From the back seat, Maya Patel leaned forward between 2 bulging diaper bags the size of carry-on luggage. Tell me again why we didn't FedEx these bad boys to your parents' house, Clara? We could have labeled the box wedding favors and nobody would have blinked. Because, Clara said, her eyes fixed on the slick asphalt, my mom opens every package that arrives. Remember the time she thought my protein powder was illegal and called the sheriff? Fair enough, Maya conceded. She patted the waistband of her jeans, which rustled like a bag of marshmallows. Still, 3 days, 3 bladders, 1 trunk. We're either geniuses or a cautionary tale. The plan had seemed simple back in the city. Drive to Clara's parents' farmhouse for a long Thanksgiving weekend, eat turkey until comatose, play board games, and avoid Frank's lectures about city folk. The 3 friends, Clara, Sophie, and Maya, had been roommates since college, bonded by late-night study sessions, shared ramen noodles, and for the last 2 years a collective medical diagnosis that required what Maya cheerfully called industrial-strength undies. They had turned necessity into a running joke, complete with a group chat cleverly named the Leak Squad. But plans, like diapers, have limits. Headlights caught a flicker of movement at the fence line, dark shapes darting between rain-lashed cornstalks. Clara's foot hit the brake. The hatchback hydroplaned like a figure skater on ice, spun 180 degrees, and slid nose first into a ditch with a majestic clorp. The engine coughed once and died. Diaper bags avalanched forward. A pack of overnight diapers burst open like confetti at a very weird party. For a moment, the only sounds were rain drumming the roof and 3 sets of lungs, remembering how to work. Status report, Clara said, voice steady despite the fact her heart was doing the Macarena. Sophie unpeeled her fingers from the dashboard. Alive, but my life just flashed before my eyes, and it was mostly spreadsheets. Maya twisted to survey the backseat chaos. Diapers scattered but accounted for. Dignity, MIA. Anyone hurt? Clara tested her neck. Fine, and peered through the windshield. The farmhouse porch light glowed half a mile away, a lone star in the deluge. Car stuck, signals dead, we walk. Sophie's eyes widened to anime proportions. Walk? In this? Out here? We'll sound like a walking bubble wrap factory. Better noisy than Coyote Chow, Clara said. She was already cataloging. Wallets, phones, 1 spare diaper each, flashlight. Single file, I lead. Maya, your rear guard. Sophie, try not to hyperventilate. They piled out into the storm. Mud immediately claimed Sophie's left sneaker with a rude sh**. My sock is now a swamp creature, she wailed, hopping to retrieve her shoe. Maya slogged forward, diaper bag slung over her shoulder like a hiker's pack. Focus on the porch light, Soph. Think of it as a very wet yellow brick road. Every step was a negotiation with physics. Mud sucked at their shoes. Cornstalks slapped at their faces like soggy towels. The rain soaked through their hoodies in seconds, turning jeans and leggings into a clingy second skin. Underneath, the diapers, already thick, swelled with rainwater, creating a symphony of squish, crinkle, squish that would have made a sound engineer weep. Sophie, bringing up the middle, kept one hand pressed to her waistband as if she could muffle the noise through sheer willpower. If we die out here, I want my eulogy to mention that I once parallel parked on the first try." "Deal," Maya called back, "and I'll add that you cried during up." Suddenly, a low growl rolled out from the cornfield, a deep guttural, way too close. Sophie froze. Clara's flashlight beam caught 2 pairs of yellow eyes reflecting back like evil marbles. Guys?" Sophie's voice cracked. "Those are not friendly labradoodles." Clara's brain shifted into overdrive. "Coyotes, pack hunters, preferred prey, small, slow, crinkly." "Run," she said calmly. "Porch, now." They all ran. It was less Olympic sprint and more 3 soggy penguins fleeing a seal. Mud sprayed into arcs. Diapers rustled like maracas. Maya's hoodie rode up, flashing the waistband of her pastel-printed padding right into the night. Sophie shrieked as a cornstalk whipped across her face. Clara's flashlight beam bounced wildly, turning the world into a strobe-lit nightmare. The porch steps appeared like a welcome mirage, and Clara's fingers, numb and slippery, fumbled the key twice before the lock clicked. They tumbled inside in a heap of limbs and luggage, slamming the heavy oak door just as something heavy thudded against it. Scratching followed, frantic and furious. Ah, warmth, wood smoke, the heavenly aroma of roasting turkey and sage stuffing. Clara's mother, Helen, stood in the kitchen doorway wearing an apron that read, "Kiss the cook or starve." Flour dusted her cheeks like war paint. Her gaze traveled from their dripping hair to their mud-caked shoes to the unmistakable bulky outlines under their soaked clothes. She didn't flinch. "Towels in the hall closet," she said, as if 3 drowned rats in obvious diapers showed up every Thanksgiving. "Flannel pajamas are on the dryer, and the washing machine will be free after we eat. All right, move it, girls. Turkey's resting." Frank's voice boomed out from the dining room. "Helen, is that the girls or a herd of raccoons?" "Girls, Daddy, girls," Clara cried, cheering her friends toward the bathroom like a shepherd with a very damp sheep. "Cars in the ditch. We might need the tractor tomorrow." The bathroom was a steamy sanctuary of tile and hope. Maya locked the door and immediately began the sacred ritual of peeling off sodden jeans. Rip! The tapes of her diaper made a sound like Velcro giving up on life. Sophie's cheeks, flaming, wrestled a fresh nighttime diaper from her bag. "Your mom saw everything. The sag, the crinkle, the whole soggy disaster." Clara towel-dried her hair vigorously. She also saw 3 idiots outrun coyotes in a thunderstorm. Perspective, Soph. Maya, now in flannel pants that could have fit a linebacker, struck a pose. "Besides, Helen's a nurse. She's seen worse. Remember the great appendix explosion of 2019? Sophie giggled despite herself. "Yeah, Mrs. Kowalski's appendix burst during bingo." They laughed, although it wasn't funny at the time for Mrs. Kowalski, but thankfully she had made a full recovery. They emerged looking like lumberjacks, but they were warm, dry, and comfy. The dining room table was a masterpiece. Golden turkey, fluffy mashed potatoes, and cranberry sauce quivering like it knew its fate. Frank Henderson, 6 feet of flannel, denim, and opinions, carved the bird with the determination and grace of a surgeon. "City girls versus country coyotes," he grunted, sliding a slice onto Clara's plate. "Who won?" "We did," Maya said, sliding into her seat, "by a nose and several decibels of shrieking." Conversation flowed like gravy. Helen passed the rolls. Frank recounted the time he had chased a bear off the porch with a broom. Sophie's fork paused halfway to her mouth when a familiar warmth spread in her fresh diaper. She froze with wide eyes. Clara, ever the strategist, slid the gravy boat right into her line of sight like a shield, and Helen refilled iced tea without missing a beat. Later, with the dishes done and the pie demolished, the 3 friends claimed the guest room, a cozy attic space with sloped ceilings and a quilt that smelled like lavender and nostalgia. Moonlight striped the floor through half-open blinds. Maya flopped backward onto the bed. "Diaper Olympics tomorrow?" Sophie, now in her 3rd one of the night, perked up. "Sure. Categories?" Fastest change," Clara declared. "Most discreet crinkle walk. And bonus points for not alerting Frank." Maya grinned. "Loser peels potatoes for tomorrow's leftovers." "Deal," Sophie said. "But first, coyote eviction." Clara produced 3 flashlights and a sack of leftover dinner rolls. "We scare them off the porch and we earn hero status. And maybe Frank stops calling us city slickers." They crept outside in borrowed boots, coats, and diapers, ruffling softly under their flannel. The coyotes had vanished, but the friends banged pots anyway, whooping and hollering like banshees. Maya lobbed a dinner roll into the darkness. "Take that, you mangy mutts!" The next morning, over coffee and homemade cinnamon rolls, Helen slid a discreet brown box under the table. "Ordered overnight from a medical supply site I know of. Extra absorbency. Figured you might need them for the drive home." The women all exchanged warm smiles with each other. Maya broke the silence and raised her mug. "To not being coyote kibble." Sophie clinked back. "And to next year's rematch." Clara smiled at the porch light still glowing against the sunrise. The storm had passed, and for the first time all weekend everything felt exactly right. But the adventure wasn't quite over, not by a long shot. After breakfast, Frank insisted on a full debrief. "Show me this ditch," he said, tugging on his barn coat. The four of them piled into his pickup, Clara up front, and Maya and Sophie in the back with a tarp to protect them from residual mud and the cold. The coyote field looked less menacing in daylight, just soggy corn and a very sad hatchback tilted like a drunk flamingo. Frank circled the car, scratching his chin. "The axle's fine, just needs a tug, probably won't need the tractor." He hooked up the tow chain with the efficiency of a man who had rescued worse. Maya, ever helpful, tried to push the bumper and promptly slipped, landing butt first into a puddle. Sophie snorted so hard she hiccuped. "Graceful, 10 out of 10. "Shut up, Ramirez," Maya grumbled, but she was laughing too. Back at the farmhouse, Helen had laid out a production line. Trash bags for muddy clothes, a laundry basket for delicates, and because she was Helen, a platter of bacon. "Fuel," she said, handing Clara a strip. "You're not leaving till that car's clean and you've had second breakfast." While Frank hosed down the hatchback, the girls tackled the interior. Maya found a single diaper wedged under the passenger seat like a hidden pastel Easter egg. "Souvenir?" she asked, holding it up. Sophie snatched it. "Evidence of our survival. We're framing this one." Clara, armed with a shop vac, unearthed a soggy corn cob from the floor mat. "Old Miller's going to want this back, but I think it's a great memento to take home." They all giggled. Lunch was leftover turkey sandwiches and Helen's famous pickle soup. Frank, offering under the influence of more pie, offered driving tips. "Next time, skip the GPS techno and take the route most familiar, or get a truck." The afternoon brought board games, mostly Monopoly because Frank believed in capitalism and Clara believed in bankrupting her father. Sophie, normally a pacifist, turned into a ruthless hotel mogul. "Park Place is mine, suckers," she crowed, slapping down houses. Her victory dance involved a subtle hip wiggle that produced a muffled crinkle, and Maya saluted with a pretzel. Dinner was casual, turkey, tetrazzini, and salad because Thanksgiving has leftovers that must be creatively delicious for days. Helen produced another pie, pecan this time, and a tub of whipped cream. "For the brave," she said, winking at Clara. After dark, the friends bundled up for Coyote Patrol, round 2. This time they armed themselves with noisemakers, as in pots, spoons, and Frank's old cowbell. They marched around the porch like a very damp marching band. Maya attempted a war cry that sounded more like a dying goose, and Sophie filmed it on her phone for blackmail purposes. No coyotes appeared, but a raccoon the size of a toddler waddled out of the bushes, eyed them judgmentally, and stole a dinner roll. Clara bowed. "We yield to the true master of the night." Back inside, hot cocoa and pajamas made the guest room feel like a sleepover fortress. Maya produced a deck of cards. "Poker. Loser changes the winner's diaper tomorrow morning." Sophie gasped in a mock horror. "That could be vicious." Clara shuffled. "Ante up, losers." They played until eyelids drooped. Sophie won with a bluff so obvious that Maya accused her of cheating with puppy dog eyes. "Fine," Maya sighed, "but I get to pick the design. You're getting unicorns." The morning brought abundant sunshine and the smell of bacon. Frank had already towed the hatchback to the garage for a once-over. "Tires are bald," he announced. "You're getting new ones before you leave." Clara opened her mouth to protest, but Frank held up a hand. "My treat, considered it hazard pay for coyote wrestling." Helen packed them a care package, a Tupperware full of leftovers, a tin of cookies, and slipped discreetly into Clara's backpack another box of diapers. Just in case, she murmured. Drive safe. The goodbye was a group hug that smelled like bacon and laundry detergent. Frank clapped each girl on the shoulder hard enough to rattle teeth. Next year, bring a truck, and maybe a bell for those coyotes. Maya saluted. Yes, sir. We'll install jingle bell wreaths around our necks, just in case. The drive home was uneventful, with sunny skies, clear roads, and a playlist of 90s hits. Sophie dozed in the back with her head against a diaper bag turned pillow. Maya scrolled through photos, the ditch, the raccoon, Sophie's victory dance. Blackmail gold, she declared. Clara glanced in the rearview mirror. Next year, we're shipping the diapers and bringing noisemakers. Sophie stirred, and extra road snacks, maybe even some jerky to toss to the wildlife. Maya grinned, and maybe a truck. Clara smiled at the road ahead. The storm had passed. The crinkled behinds remained, and somewhere in the distance a porch light waited for next Thanksgiving, ready for round 2. The end. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Diaper Diaries. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell so you will know when the next one is uploaded. Good night, my babies.